Okay, let's get started. Noticing you, your surroundings around you, noticing you and your body in that inner physical environment where the skin stops and all of our inner workings. And let's take a deep breath in, breathing in from the core of the earth where there's these pure frequencies filtered out through gravity, bringing them right up, right through our body, to the top of our crown. Or for those of you who know about coming up right through the base to our pedestal, us on our pedestal like in a museum, that masterpiece we are. And another deep breath in, breathing in to a count of 4, holding that breath to a count of 4, and then exhaling through the mouth to another count of 4. For those who are new to this work, it doesn't really matter what the count is, you decide. It's just about being disciplined and being aware of your breath in those 3 movements, the breathing in, the holding, and then the exhaling. Tuning into these frequencies from nature that naturally align us, bring us into a better position in space and time, or harmonious position with the all. Taking another breath in, just centering everybody right here, right now. It's always good before, if you go into a meeting or a family discussion or anything that might have a bit of anxiety, or you need to convey your point, try and always come into this moment first of all, coming into your body. It's the safest place to be. It's the most powerful place to be. It's a place where you are in the best alignment you can be for where you are on this journey. And I always start these frequency meditations in this manner because it helps me help you. Bring in that knowledge from your timeless self with limited filters so that your transformation or transportation to a better reality, better dimensions within those realities can happen. So why is it that narrative that's out in the spiritual world about awakening and what happens and what should happen, if we are on a journey and we are being a good person, then that must conclude that everything in our life will be like a fairy tale. But we don't see evidence of that as you take that breath in and coming into your chest area, just putting attention on the area in your chest. Does that mean we're doing it wrong? We haven't like ascended or not connected? Not at all. It's all about our definitions. Our definitions of what we think should happen. Definitions of what we think our life should be, we should be, the interaction with the world around us. And we have been taught for a very, very long time that if you're a good person and if you're doing good deeds, helping people, helping the world, then you are in favor in God's eyes. And the opposite is that if you are a, quote, bad person doing destructive, abusive things to other people, the world, ourselves, self-inflicting, then the chances are highly likely you're going to this place called hell. All based on judgment. Taking another breath in, noticing that chest area again. Well, from my own experience, and all I can do is pass on my experience. They're not opinions, they're actually experience. All the work we do here is experiential. It's not theories, it's not mindsets. It's we experience it within, we receive the knowledge within from our higher self, our timeless self. And what I have been shown, and in fact is my direct experience, one thing on the other side, there is no judgment. There is no favoritism. Nobody gets left out. It's not emotional. It's not even based on beliefs or values. It just is. It's a mechanics. It's an equation. How else could this world, the universe, galaxies, the infinite movements at any time with perfect synchronicity occur if it's based on such a variable as a subjective view on anything? Another deep breath in, really tuning into these frequencies from the core of the earth, bringing them up right through the base to the pedestal, us on our pedestal, perfect form. Everything here that we experience and do is for that common objective remit of our timeless self and ourselves, whether we're aware of it or not. And that is to merge our timeless self with this limited time-bound self, so you can be a full expression of your timeless self in this physical form. The process to get there is the very reason for our existence. So those who seek gurus or other types of individuals or movements, doctrines, dogmas, to get that quick fix, to get that magic wand, it's not going to be very effective. What's the purpose? If we, as we ask for self-will, free will, if we don't need to do anything and it just magically happens and we're connected, ascended, awakened. If it can just happen like that, why have we even come to do this experience here in physical form? We're a fractal of the whole. We've come from the whole. We've made that decision, that agreement to come here. So everything we experience today, coming back to our chest, Everything we experience is to help navigate, funnel us on that path that will provide the experiences so we do start moving closer in space and time towards our timeless self. So as we take a breath in, a really deep breath in, holding it, and then releasing to your count. And there's no one answer fits all questions. It depends on the perspective you currently have. Will determine what possibilities can come in. To help you come into a more optimal position. It depends on the rule sets you have, the filters you have. That influences what needs to come in to help you. For example, in that organization, Alcoholics Anonymous, the perspective of the alcoholic, the antidote for the alcoholic, is very different than the perspective for Al-Anon members, family and friends of alcoholics. For the alcoholic, as it's written in their textbook, the alcoholic addict is chronically self-centered. So the antidote to that is to expand, take the focus off oneself, to take interest in other people, to put other people sometimes before oneself. Now for the Al-Anon member, the perspective is the opposite. Is to be aware of how they let other frequencies, people, push into them, control them, dictate their mental state. So that antidote is to be more self-centered, if you like, to have stronger boundaries. So this is just an example of there is no one solution. It all depends on what this amazing, phenomenal mixture of frequencies we are. I refer to it as a frequency signature, which is always dynamic. It's always changing. Another breath in. The whole system is set up to help us expand. We, over time, have misinterpreted the system, the universal system, and we use it to heal. It's a very different application. Hence, healing is a long, drawn-out movement. Results negligible in comparison to using this system for expansion. So, first of all, if we start to operate this system, this highly, highly developed technical system that has been working for billions of years very successfully, we have evolved, and I'm not just speaking about humans. Noticing the back of your head. So let's go a little bit clearer, more deeper. Besides being focused on when situations, people, places, things do not go the way we wish it to. And although we're on this journey, and that's not the story we've been told, that things shouldn't go bad, shouldn't be challenged if we're on this journey. And equally for people who maybe aren't the most caring and loving, to another degree altogether. Well, nothing seems negative to them. In fact, actually, they look like they're winning in this game of life. So let's go a little bit clearer. Let's look at the infrastructure, the architect. Everything here is to help us merge with our timeless self. But as we place judgment on things, it's good or bad, it's right or wrong, we have an attachment to whatever the outcomes are that are happening to us. And what that does, that attachment, it stifles the knowledge of the purpose of what's happening for us and why. When you start to release from attachments and you start to be the observer of whatever is happening, you then start to get the inside knowledge, the architecture behind it. You start to be able to see, observe. A higher order of meaning. So you're more receptive, without fear, without judgment, that whatever is being presented in your life is there to help you release filters, programs, distortions. So as you could have a closer proximity in space and time with your timeless self. The great thing with this system is once you start to use it and apply it in an expansive form, you could start to have new rule sets on how this learning process happens for you. All of this conversation is for people who are on the journey, who are in the process of awakening. It's another whole scenario for people who unfortunately are not in the position to awaken right now, to be in the club, if you like. That is another whole fragmented scenario that's going on there. Very similar to how, as I outlined, the alcoholic versus the Al-Anon. So let's focus, because everybody on this call is in that process. You wouldn't be on this call if you weren't. What used to work for us as we take a breath in, focus on the chest, focus on the back of the neck, focus on your groin. As we are these dynamic beings on a dynamic journey, what used to be a consequence of this inner non-physical environment, which has all our frequencies, everything that happens outside here in this world is just a consequence of the programs we have. Just like our inner physical environment where the skin stops and all our inner workings, that is a reflection of that space where all of our frequencies are. As we start shifting at a frequency level, our outer environment starts shifting. The reflection of who we are starts shifting, changing. And change means change. I've worked with many people who have come to me and said, I really want to change. And they're dedicated. And we start doing this work together. And guess what happens? They change. And they don't like it. Because we love the familiar. But as we shift, and we always shift at a frequency level before the mind catches up and before our environment, our outer environment catches up. So once you start doing this work, this journey, studies, you start shifting at a frequency level. And once the frequencies have shifted, your outer environment has to shift. Your reflection of who you are has to shift. It's not negotiable. So by releasing any attachments, judgments, what we may think is a really bad thing happening to us or a negative thing happening to us, that can come from relationship splits up, bankruptcy, ill health, all those things that we have put a big stamp of disapproval on. We find as time goes on that actually those have been the physical shifts we needed, so we're in alignment with this new frequency signature that's coming. It's a clearing away. The suffering happens because we hang on to it. We hang on to the old self. Our judgments keep us in prison of the old self. And so then our perspective is that everything that is happening is bad. But once we release judgment, once we really get to the actual only problem, only issue we humans have in life, and it can be really summed up very, very simply: lack of trust with our timeless self. Everything that happens to us is to be there to assist us with the only issue we have as humans: lack of trust in our timeless self. Which kind of makes sense if the remit here is to merge with your timeless self. Then that would be a pretty big obstacle. As we take a big breath in, coming into our spine area, that spine, that transmitter, that receiver. The mind is a processor. The mind is constantly regurgitating past programs, because that's all it knows, to reactivate them in this present moment or in the future moment, spending a great amount of time thinking about the future moment based on our past moments, our past distortions. There's no merit looking to the past. Even if you have trauma, and I'm not minimizing trauma, I'm bringing a solution for trauma. But the past is the past. It has no source. We bring it that source, which takes a lot of energy. We've also been taught to reference our past as who we are. There's merit in analyzing, synthesizing, diving deep into the past, into the wounds. But Metaphysics 101 suggests the opposite. What we think, what we put energy in, is what we are creating or recreating. If you want a smoother transition, a more efficient transition, is to be keeping the focus on that next version of who you're creating. And this is where imagination can come in. Imagination has been downplayed for us. It's one of our superpowers. Nothing is created without first having imagination. Imagine that next version of you. And this is much more solid than just projecting of that person you want to be, wishful thinking. It's actually by focusing on that next higher version of you. It's giving permission to your timeless self to start creating it. As I said, there's no judgment on the other side. Your timeless self is not concerned about what process we go through to get to where we're going, which is to merge, to be at one, to be awakened, whether it is in this lifetime or it happens once we disconnect. It's of no relevance. There's only one objective. So if we wish to keep going into the past and to try and heal the past, to try and find some sort of completion within from that version of ourselves in the past, there's no judgment, you can, but it's not a very efficient way because it goes against the universal laws of how we create ourselves here. Let's just be in silence for a bit, coming into our body, being centered right here. And like as we started this meditation, it's always about being in our body and in this present moment. For that is where we're in the greatest alignment with our timeless self. That's where we have the greatest clarity. And from this position, we can move as time comes on, as we clear away those distortions naturally. More will be revealed. And you'll start to master how you render yourself here, what rule sets you use. This expansion process was never intended to be full of suffering. But as we're using the expansion process mechanics to heal, it got a bit complicated. As we breathe in, coming back to our chest, coming back to being here right now, noticing the sounds around you right now, noticing where they're coming from, and then where are you? We're using our 5 senses to spatial reference to come back here. Highly, highly evolved technology for us to use at any time, anywhere. So one of our physical senses is sound, hearing, noticing where those sounds are, noticing where you are in your body. Another physical sense is smell. Notice any smells around you, where are they coming from? And then where are you in your body? Opening your eyes and looking at an object. Sight being another sense. Noticing where that object is, and again noticing you and your body. Distance between the two. The taste in your mouth, this is an internal spatial referencing. The taste creates a chain reaction of what is to be released within for optimal health. That's all based on where you are in space and time, that proximity to your timeless self. We're not supposed to have ill health. Again, that was never the intention. And then the 5th sense, touch. What is touching your skin right now? What's supporting you? What are you sitting, lying, perhaps walking on? And those are the 5 physical senses, but we have much, much more senses. Intuition is a sense that we can tune into, explore. The beauty of how it works is that as we go through this process, and we never get there, by the way, it's a continuous process. We always could have a clearer connection with our timeless self. We could always receive more technologies, abilities. But there's a point that comes on the journey, a tipping point, where you're just so solid and you just feel so connected and complete within at all times that it's rather irrelevant what happens. You know it's temporal. You know where you're going. You know who you are. You know that connection. It comes with great authority. And you get to detach because you really have that clear knowledge within that all these outer activities are not who you are. They don't influence who you are. They don't define who you are. And that's when you get into a state that you can be euphoric at any time. But even that you don't seek, because you're just good. You're just complete. And I can promise you, there is no amount of money, which is an energy that many, many people in the mass consciousness defines themselves by, pursues. A great sacrifice. There is no amount of money that can even come close to that feeling of completion, and connection with your timeless self. And that's where we're all going. Some people are already there. They're there to help others come. But we're all going to get there. And with that, I hope you have a beautiful week. And who knows what's around the corner, but I think next Sunday, we're going to be in Ibiza having our frequency meditation.